Good morning. Please rise in body or spirit as we sing our gathering music, number 131, Love Will Guide Us. Sway as you move. Love will guide us, ease us, guide us, hold beside us, willing the way. Congregation of Hillsborough, UUCH, where we constantly strive to be an open and welcoming congregation to all who seek a caring community and support. Every now and then I meet someone who doesn't really know much about Unitarian Universalism, and they ask me, so Jess, is your religious faith and beliefs? Are you Christian? Are you Jewish? Are you Buddhist, pagan, secular humanist? What? And I say yes, to all of that, and more. You see, we don't require that we all adhere to one specific creed or belief. Rather, we share multiple faith practices and rituals and worship as a covenant community, committed to loving and supporting each other as we each continue our individual lifelong quest for truth and meaning in matters of our personal faith. So we are people of many faiths, demonstrating to the world how we can overcome differences. And we even encourage a wide variety of personal beliefs as long as loving care for each other remains at the central guiding force for all that we do. And that's not as easy as it sounds sometimes. UUism is not for the faint of heart. So we are all growing, all learning, all sharing, and loved. Just as you are welcome here. Everyone, please turn to those sitting around you and give them a good, glad to see you welcome.
Glad to see you welcome. Hi, back there.
I like that part.
Good morning.
My name is Dave Yelton. I'm the worship coordinator for today's service. As a lay-led congregation, there are many contributors, many behind the scenes who make our services possible. So let's give a big thank you to all of those who help make this a great place to worship, learn, and grow together in love and community. Now, Aviva Enoch, our regular musical director, is away for the month of October on her European vacation and fact-finding mission. So, I don't know what she's going to find out, but anyway. But we are blessed to have Mr. Music Man himself, Tristan Zarimi, to be our gifted musician for the day for our service music. And we're also blessed to have Alan McBride, who will be giving our offertory music on his lovely hammered dulcimer. I'm looking forward to that. Our speaker for today is another one of our gifted members, Patty O'Connor. We all see Patty in several volunteer roles that she plays here on the care team and for organizing the after-service coffee hour. I'll have more to say about Patty a little later in the service, but for now, I'll just say how blessed we are to have Patty as a member here, and we look forward to her message of wisdom, experience, and insight. Before we create our time for worship, I'd like to remind everyone that this is the absolutely perfect time to check your cell phone to see if it's shut off or silenced. I just checked mine. Also, please note that after the service, we will enjoy coffee time together. And I ask if you are a visitor, please stay with us and we get to know each other a little bit better in that relaxed atmosphere. Please take a moment now to look at your order of service, look at the announcements on the back. And now we're going to take a few moments to share any other important announcements that are not listed in that order of service. And please come to the side mic and tell us your message.
Hi, I'm Tristan, and if you have any interest in performing music for an offertory, today is pretty much the last day. I still need someone to perform an offertory on the 26th. It can be pretty much anything you like that's not like laced with profanity, so let me know like right after the service if you're interested, because I leave for work right after this, or catch Heather while she's still around, or email me. But yeah, if you have interest in performing an offertory, know someone who does. Today is pretty much the last day to hop on that train for this month.
Hi everybody, I'm Kim. Our usual program admin Amy is away today, so I'm trying to fill her shoes. Just a reminder that we are collecting gently used or new books for the Halloween Carnival. Our goal is to send not just candy, but a book home with every child. And if you have any to bring in, if somebody's here, you can leave them in the office. If nobody's here, just stick them in the library and we will get to them. And thank you so much for your generosity. I also want to let folks know that we are having the long-awaited tree removal this week out back. So if you are planning to be here during the week this week, especially stay out of there. don't get under their feet. They will be taking down 5 dead trees out back along the path, and then there is one on the edge of the playground that they will be taking down. They're going to remove the fence panel right there and put it back in place. So there shouldn't be any significant lift from our folks here. Afterwards, they should leave everything in a pretty nice state. If you have any concerns, please see me. And if you can always email me, moderator@uuchnc.org. But I'm usually around for a bit after the service, so just grab me. And I think that's it. Thank you, everybody.
I've got one announcement myself. This is coming up on the 18th, which is next Saturday. The Orange Congregations and Missions, OCIM, has a thrift shop fundraiser. It'll actually be for the Meals on Wheels, but the thrift shop is offering a fall festival. Of course, baked goods, antiques, jewelries. They're having a silent auction, so it will be an event from 9 till 2 on Saturday. Great fundraiser, and it should be rather interesting with silent auction and larger items than they usually have. I've got some little takeaways outside on the welcome table in the foyer. If you want to take one of these home as a reminder, that would be a good way to put it on your calendar at home. Any other announcements? Yeah.
So we do have flyers for the Halloween Carnival because we didn't get a huge turnout last year. So it's going to be lots of fun. There's going to be books and candy and face painting and glitter tattoos and fairy hair, and it's just going to be awesome. So we have those as well that you can take if you know kids or know people with kids. It's free, so try to have people come because we want to be a good force in the community. Thank you. Oh, it's the 26th from 4 to 7, and you can also take one if you know somewhere where you could post it for people to see.
Hey y'all, Chief Logistics. Next Saturday there's a Norkins gathering in Hillsborough outside the old courthouse started about 11 a.m. That's the you Americans coming together and being like, no monarchy.
That's it. Since there are no more announcements, let's prepare ourselves for our time of worship together. We'll quickly remind ourselves of who we are and why we gather. We are Unitarian Universalists. We draw from our heritage of freedom, reason, hope, courage, building on the foundation of love. Love is the power that holds us together and is at the center of our shared values. We'll begin with our chalice lighting for the morning. It's entitled Rekindling by none other than Dr. Albert Schweitzer. At times, our own light goes out and is rekindled by a spark from another person. Each of us has cause to think with deep gratitude of those who have lighted the flame within us. Now for opening words.
Our opening words, To Care Without Drowning by Reverend Michelle Collins. Some days the world's pain floods through us like water through an open dam. Every headline, every cry of distress becoming our own. We come here today thirsty for the wisdom to care without drowning, to love without losing ourselves in the undertow of others' sorrows. And now rise in body or spirit as we sing our opening hymn, Wake Now My Senses, number 298 in the Great Hymnal.
Thank you.
Sharing joys and concerns and sorrows is a special ritual of our Sunday services. This ritual happens in two parts. First, we take time to share aloud, and then we have time for silent acknowledgments of sorrows or joys or milestones that have occurred since we last gathered. Both parts include dropping of stones into the vase on the altar, symbolizing a metaphorical communal collection of all of our experiences. By taking time to share, we strengthen the bonds between us. So first, we'll take time to share aloud. We do not record this part of the service. This part of the service is shared aloud. For those of you joining us online, there will be a short break while people here speak. If you are joining us online and would like to share your joys or concerns with us here in the room, please put it in the chat and tell us whether you'd like it to be read aloud, and we'll drop a stone for you. So now, if you feel moved to do so, we invite you to take a moment, center yourself, and gather your thoughts. We kindly ask that you speak from the heart and keep what you have to share with us brief and heartfelt. prefer to silently acknowledge your joys and concerns remaining in your heart, I invite you to come to the altar and release a stone in the vase in silence while Tristan plays Voice Still and Small, which is hymn number 391. After he plays it through it once, we will join in singing this meditative song. Words are printed in your order of service. We hold all these things within the heart of this community, both spoken and unspoken, by remaining silent for a moment as we consider what has been shared and how we might respond. Now let's close our sharing time together by saying, Amen and blessed be. Amen. Blessed be. Now I should ask an RE teacher to tell us what's going on in RE today.
We are going to do blocking for one of our Sacred Story skits and probably work some on the set too.
Okay.
Do I need to come up?
Did everybody hear her?
We're good. We're good.
Okay, we're good. Okay, let's see. Okay, now we will dismiss the children with our children's blessing, which is in the back of the hymn book, and the words are printed in your order of service. Nice twist. Well, as I promised earlier, I have a little more to tell you about Patty, our speaker for today, Patty O'Connor. She's been a member since 2021, just before COVID hit and we all went virtual online. She was introduced to the congregation by a good neighbor and friend, Amy Tattersall, who is not with us today, but who happens to be a longtime and founding member of this church. Patty has been a nurse for nearly 50 years. She says she's never regretted choosing that profession for a moment. Her career included working with acute care, long-term care, teaching, specialty home infusions, and now home care for special needs clients. She also volunteers with various animal shelters and rescue programs. She currently co-chairs with Jenny Kyles our care team here at UUCH, and also serves on the fellowship and justice teams. So, with all that experience and history, I'm sure we'll benefit from what Patty has to share with us today about cultivating compassion and our commitment to serving others. So Patty, we look forward to your words of wisdom, experience, and insight.
Thank you. I'm going to disrupt the symmetry for a moment because I need this close.
Whatever you need.
Okay. Okay, good morning. I'm Patty. And my topic today is cultivating compassion, how we can do it, why it's important. I think we probably all know why it's important because we seek it when we need it. This talk will likely be a little bit like preaching to the choir because I look out and see faces that have offered me compassion and empathy. And when it hasn't been offered to me, it's been offered to others that I see here. So I believe compassion is really part of being a UU, or any truly spiritual person for that matter. And you'd think that because it's such a big topic, and I've worked nearly 50 years as a nurse in a field known for compassionate people, that it would be easy to get up and speak today. But I actually struggled with this topic, not because I'm not compassionate, but perhaps more because it's so big a topic, I had a hard time making it small enough to fit into this time. Raise your hand if it gets to be too much. 20 minutes max. Okay, I promise. Okay. Two, sometimes I feel inadequate in this arena because it's not because I don't have compassion, it's because at times I don't have good compassionate boundaries. Okay, and I need others' help with that. But we'll get to that later. Karen Armstrong, a secular scholar and historian of religion, notes that the spirit of compassion lies at the heart of all religious, ethical, and spiritual traditions, calling us always to treat others as we wish to be treated ourselves. Although a little different version of that quote says we should treat others as they wish to be treated, and I find that a little bit more compassionate. I usually like to begin a talk by defining any meaningful terms, and in this case that would be compassion. But I'd like to define some related words first. First, there's pity. And pity is a feeling of sorrow for someone else's misfortune. And it's usually from afar and sometimes a little bit superior. We might say, I feel sorry for her, but there's nothing I can really do. Sympathy recognizes and acknowledges another person's hardship, often accompanied by a desire to comfort them. You might say, I'm really sorry that you're going through that. Empathy is the ability to understand and feel what another person is experiencing by putting yourself in their shoes, or as Native Americans say, walking a mile in their moccasins. They might say, I can imagine how painful that must be. I've experienced something similar. And finally, compassion, which is a deep awareness of and empathy for the suffering of others, coupled with a strong desire to alleviate that suffering. It's empathy plus action. You might say, I see you're hurting, let me help you. We can think of it like a ladder. You have pity, it sees suffering with detachment from afar. Sympathy stands nearby and offers comfort. Empathy steps into the other person's shoes. And compassion walks with them and tries to ease the pain. In addition to humans, compassion can be extended to other living beings and even the earth itself, which some believe is a single self-regulating organism. While preparing this talk, I've thought of Jane Goodall, a truly remarkable woman, scientist, and activist who recently passed away. She had tremendous respect and compassion for all living things in the earth that sheltered them. And then other truly compassionate people, Mahatma Gandhi, Nelson Mandela, Mother Teresa, Princess Diana, Bill and Melinda Gates, Martin Luther King Jr., Greta Thunberg. I mean, if you can Google, and the list goes on forever of people who have devoted their whole lives to treating the earth and other people and beings compassionately. And I thought of all the small ways in which we show compassion to each other. Performing a task that's too difficult for someone to perform, offering a needed ride, sharing and preparing a meal, lending a listening ear when you're busy. It's what makes the world go round. Science tells us that humans are born with a fundamental capacity and underlying neurological mechanisms for empathy and compassion. Neural networks, hormonal influences, and evolutionary roots are all involved in fostering our ability to feel compassion. Studies have shown that even newborns react more strongly to the cries of other babies than to other sounds, suggesting a built-in sensitivity to others' distress. But while the general potential for empathy exists from birth, the process of cultivating it and refining it is an ongoing learned process shaped by one's caregivers and upbringing, personal experiences, social interactions, and moral judgments, leading some individuals to express compassion more readily than others. Additionally, some people with certain types of autism or mental health disorders may not have the same capacity for compassion that most do. I'm going to talk a little bit about my own development of compassion. My parents, especially my mom, were compassionate people and were my earliest models for compassionate care. They both loved animals in differing degrees and ways, and my own first feelings of empathy and compassion were extended to creatures. It's not that I wasn't taught to be compassionate to people, it's just that the people around me that were my family didn't seem to need it. Just my consideration. My first remembered feelings of real compassion were, oddly enough, for ants. Emmett, you know Emmett would appreciate that because Emmett loves ants. My paternal grandmother, when walking down any sidewalk, would go out of her way to step on any large black ant. Okay, no explanation offered for that. She just went out of her way to do that. Sometimes the ants weren't killed, but would only be mortally wounded and left writhing on the sidewalk. I always went back to kill them all the way so they wouldn't suffer. I never understood why she did this and never questioned her because she was a figure of authority and I was a kind of a timid kid. My parents taught us about kindness and caring about other people, about people as well at an early age. They explained how important it was to demonstrate kindness and care to our extended family members and friends. We were shown at a pretty young age how to write thank you notes and then expected to always write them when we received a gift, as well as regular letters to our aunts and uncles, and there were numerous. My mom consistently reinforced how important it was to make people feel appreciated and loved, and something as small as a thank you note or a short letter could do that. It was a practice I carried on as long as the recipients of those letters lived, although at times the intervals became a bit longer. But what great family connections they were, especially as we all aged. Their worlds became smaller, and I became mature enough to know how caring and compassion impacted all of us in positive ways. Another early lesson involved my parents encouraging us to visit our neighbors, the Dranshacks down the street, who were somewhat socially isolated. I was about 8, and my sister was 6. Mr. Dranshak, called Blackie because of the abundance of black hair on his arms, and his wife Ethel lived about a block away. They were in their late 60s. Ethel had had a stroke and couldn't speak or use her right side well. She walked unsteadily with a quad cane and needed assistance with all of her ADLs or activities of daily living: bathing, eating, dressing, toileting, etc. I remember that in attempting to communicate, she made unintelligible sounds and drooled a lot. She always had a tissue in her left hand to dab at her mouth. Blackie, who nearly always had a smile on his face, was a caregiver. We visited regularly, at first accompanied by our parents, and then on our own. Our initial hesitance gave way to our comfort and enthusiasm as we got to know them. We visited once or twice weekly. We made drawings and colored them, ate candy, played silly games. I understood, even at that young age, how important our visits were to them. And to us too. We learned pretty quickly that making someone else happy makes you happy as well. We continued our visits for several years until Blackie passed away and Ethel was moved to a nursing home. Later lessons in empathy and compassion were learned, probably just like yours, through life experiences in school, at church, at your jobs, through family and friends. We heard about poor children and collected money for UNICEF, or seeing a classmate be bullied, hearing unkind words come from someone's mouth, and trying to care for some of the neighbors' neglected pets who wandered into our yard. All offered opportunities to show empathy and compassion and made me feel good. Joining the Girl Scouts, becoming a nursing assistant, and then a nurse, all of those experiences offered me numerous opportunities to see others' troubles and suffering, and somehow want to help ease that suffering. Part of the compassion I practiced in nursing patients came from believing that empathy, kindness, and my compassion, along with the best care I could provide, could somehow change their disease outcome or length of post-op care. I believe it probably did in some cases. How many, I'll never know, but that's really not important. If even one person benefited from my compassion, it was worth the effort. Later, as a nursing instructor, it became important to model compassionate care and help students find ways to exhibit empathy and compassion toward their patients, focusing primarily on touch and active listening while providing first-rate nursing care. Sometime, a little later on in life, as a person who loves animals almost as much as most people, I sought understanding of the unnecessary suffering they endured, and I found myself watching videos of animal abuses on factory farms, in stockyards, at rodeos and circuses, roadside zoos, and dogfighting rings. I watched so I could feel and see for myself the horrific abuses that animals suffered through human ignorance and greed. That method is not for the faint of heart, and it's certainly not for everybody to do. But I do believe we must somehow all make ourselves aware of the consequences of our actions, such as supporting events that use animals or of eating them, and make decisions based on our values. Author Paul Bloom, in his book Against Empathy, challenges a common belief that empathy is the best moral guide. He argues that rational compassion, rooted in reason, fairness, and perspective, is a better foundation for moral action because it moves us beyond empathy's narrow focus on those we can easily relate to, and it allows us to care for strangers, future generations, and even the earth. Extending compassion to others usually makes us feel good. The benefits of compassion bestowed on another person or being can make them feel worthy and good and connected, and will likely make us feel the same. Studies reveal that when we experience or show kindness, the brain releases serotonin and dopamine, neurotransmitters that uplift mood and create a sense of calm. And who doesn't need that in their lives today? Perhaps you've heard about the phenomenon of people in drive-through lines paying for the order of the people behind them. And when that person behind them receives the kindness, sometimes they'll pay for the person behind them, and so on. So good feeling, kindness really does beget kindness in many cases. And we all surely need it now, maybe more than ever. Maria Popova, a Bulgarian-born, American-based essayist, author, and poet, said, "There is no greater remedy for helplessness than helping someone else, no greater salve for sorrow than according gladness to another. What makes the livable despite the cruelties of chance, the accident, the wildfire, the random intracellular mutation, are these little acts of mercy, of tenderness, the small, clear voice rising over the cacophony of the quarrelsome, over the complaint choir of the cynics, to insist again and again that the world is beautiful and full of kindness." There is no shortage of human and non-human beings who are in need of our compassion. I just have a little short list of ways for kids and adults to encourage compassion. So parents, model empathetic and kind behavior yourself. Okay? Encourage them to consider others' feelings by saying, how would you feel if that happened? Provide opportunities for them to help others. Kids a lot of times don't look for those themselves. You have to suggest some of those. Okay? Maybe you can go volunteer at the animal shelter once every other month and take the kids to socialize the cats or walk the dogs. Maybe if they like art, they can make a card or some little project to take to a nursing home patient who doesn't get visitors. The ways and means are only limited by your imagination and time. We can read books that explore diverse characters and emotions. That's probably the banned books, by the way. Consistently praise their compassionate actions to reinforce these values. For adults, You can practice loving kindness meditation, also known as metta meditation. It's a Buddhist meditation, and you can Google that because I'm not going to get into it now, but any kind of meditation is helpful. Cultivate mindfulness and self-compassion. Actively consider others' perspectives and experiences. Look for opportunities to show small acts of kindness. Be present and a good listener. Set healthy boundaries and don't overextend yourself. And reflect on shared humanity to connect with others' feelings. Offering our compassion can be tiring, even exhausting when it's done without recharging our own batteries. It's called compassion fatigue. It's a common issue, and there are many effective ways to manage it. When I think of compassion fatigue, I have to just think of Doctors Without Borders in Sudan and people offering food to hungry day after day without relief. But without that kind of compassion fatigue, we can all suffer from it when we give of ourselves too much without taking care of ourselves. Being exposed to the prolonged suffering of others depletes our own ability to be compassionate then. Sometimes we simply need to say a compassionate no. Setting boundaries and practicing self-compassion isn't selfish, but necessary for continued care of others. The Dalai Lama said, if your compassion doesn't include yourself, it's incomplete. This statement really underscores that self-care is integral to genuine compassion for others. A quote from an unknown author says, "You are not required to set yourself on fire to keep others warm." We really must set boundaries when offering compassion to others, letting people know what's okay and what's not okay if we want to avoid feeling resentful or used or overwhelmed. This doesn't necessarily apply to every small act of compassion, but to larger or perhaps more extended acts. An example might be offering to let a friend use your car to go to work interviews one day a week, and all of a sudden they begin asking for the car for multiple times for multiple tasks. Boundary setting can save the relationship. Here's a personal example. My partner Angel's and my act of compassion is letting an unhoused person temporarily stay in their camper on our property. This involved letting them know what the rules of the property were and what the consequences for violating those rules would be. It allows us to offer compassion without feeling we're being taken advantage of. It truthfully is also our weakest area in offering this compassion. Dr. Kristen Neff, an American professor of psychology and pioneer in the study of self-compassion, says, we need to make a commitment to self-compassion because it doesn't come naturally for us. Our culture doesn't support it. Our brains have a negativity bias, which means that we tend to see the bad rather than the good in ourselves. In Angel's and my case, we sometimes question our own compassion or make excuses for another's lack of thoughtfulness. Remember, compassion fatigue is a common issue, and there are many ways to manage it. Some strategies to deal with it are self-care. You all know what to do, whether you do it daily or not. Eat right, sleep right, get exercise right, okay? I know we all know that. Google it if you don't. But there's ways to really take care of yourself, okay? Set boundaries. Maintain clear limits on your workload and avoid taking on too much. It's really important. And many of us are guilty of taking on more than feels good to us. Never good. Okay. Disconnect from things once in a while. Schedule time for hobbies, vacations, or disconnect from the source of your fatigue. If you need emotional support, find a therapist, find a neighbor, find a friend, find a family member who loves you and can support you in your need. And if you really need it, or the source of your fatigue is maybe your job, seek professional help through your job, employee assistance program, etc. Remember, caring and compassion can add so much richness to your life and the lives of others. It can be considered an art, actually, because it requires practice, intention, and creative intuition to apply it effectively. It can be developed and strengthened through various practices, just as artistic abilities can be honed over time. Compassionate people are the world's strength. So go forth and do good works, but take care of yourselves as you go.
so much, Patty. That's a wonderful message. I'll go back and look at that online again. I need to study that closely. That's wonderful. Each Sunday after our sermon, we take up a monetary offering to support various worthy causes. For the month of October, our plate offering goes to OCIM, Orange Congregations in Mission. OCIM serves those people in northern Orange County who are struggling with basic needs of food, household supplies, and clothing. OCIM provides this assistance through Meals on Wheels program, the food pantry, and the thrift store. We collect food and personal items weekly in our container in the lobby, in the front hallway, and we also donate to the thrift shop clothing and household items, help generate funds for the OCIM program. So please be generous in your collection today. Please donate by placing checks or cash in the offering basket. If by check, please write plate on the memo line, or if go to our website, uuchnc.org, and click on the donate button. Or you can use the QR code printed in your order of service. We thank you for your generosity. Now, Alan McBride will gift us with his musical selection. Thank you so much, Alan, Mr. Lovely. Please join me in offering a blessing for our offering all together. For the love that surrounds us every morning, for the friends beside us, and for the generous gifts just received, let us be truly grateful. Please rise in body or spirit as we sing our closing hymn, number 299, Make Channels for the Streams of Love. Our closing words are words by the Reverend David Breeden on the practice, by Reverend Lyndon Barnes, may love always be at your center. May you embrace your growing with compassion. May courage be yours as you answer your heart's calling. May beauty and wonder be yours even when the going gets rough. And may love always be at your center. May it always be so. Now we'll extinguish our chalice with the words printed in your order of service. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. Go in peace, my friends, and blessed be.
Didn't get blood out of her.